In this video, we're just moving on with the electrical testing on the Thunderbird 1961. And the way it works is you have what I like to call two main wires for the accessories. So as it is right now, there's well, basically for any car of this era, there was two separate circuits, if you will. A major one for the engine bay, so the alternator, voltage regulator, battery starter, ignition coil, and distributor. So that's one separate circuit. And then you'd have another one for power windows, anything, lights, dimmer switch, which doesn't really do any dimming. I'll just call it foot switch or just light switch. The reverse lights, the signal lamps, and all that. So anything that's not a major part of the car, anything from the engine that that's not working properly, then you can't drive the car. So if you have a bad alternator, the car's not going to charge, you're going to be stranded. Bad voltage regulators, same thing. It's either not going to charge or you're going to burn everything. Faulty distributor cap without that little carbon. I had to fix that and replace it on my Rambler because it's the same. It won't. So I mean, you get the point. And then anything else in here, is you're just missing lights. That's all. You can still reach your destination basically. So, anyways, this is a fancy car. So, for simpler cars such as my Rambler, then it's just you just have pretty much the dash lights and the heater, and the other lights, pretty much it. But for fancy cars, luxury cars such as the Thunderbird, then you have power windows, power seats, you have a radio, you have electric wiper. I think actually these ones. Yeah, I think these ones are electric wipers already. Electric wipers. You'd have electric pump for the windshield cleaning solution. So you have the radio, a bunch of stuff. But anyways, moving on. This Thunderbird has two separate circuits. One of them is wired directly to the battery, which means that the things that are connected to it, part of that circuit, they will work regardless of the car being on or off, or even if the ignition switch is on or off, or even it will still work even if you don't have the keys in. So I don't really like those kinds of circuits because it's easy to forget things on, and so that's not really good. And but then you still have what I think is a better circuit, which is wired from the ignition switch, which means that it turns off if the ignition switch is off. So in the future I might change it so that everything is just controlled by the ignition switch. But basically, the advantage of this kind of circuit, it's mainly for such as the door lights. Basically, when you open the door, a light turns on so that you can get inside the car. Now, obviously, you're not going to have that light if you're not inside the car and the ignition switch is off. So that's why they wired it directly to the battery, so that people can have the light as they're going into the car. Which, I don't know, I don't really like that, but I mean, it's a matter of preference, and for now we're just going to leave that as is. But anyways, the main wiring, so there's basically two main wires. One that's connected directly to the battery, or more directly to the solenoid. To the, not solenoid, the starter relay, sorry. So basically it's just this one. It becomes this one here, and you also have this yellow one. Follow it in there. The yellow one Yes, hang on. Yes. Let me just hang on. Let me just make sure I got this said there right. So yeah, that one. These black ones, big thick black ones. You always know they're the main wires because they're the black. I mean, they're big, thick wires. Yeah, I've got it coming into here. Coming in here, these three wires, and you go through here. Come into this here. One of them is the yellow one. The other, this black one here, comes from there. So yeah, we have the black and yellow and the yellow. And they come in here. And there is the yellow. I think it's this one. Or no, it's the other one. I can't see right now, but anyways, in here is that black and yellow one. And it distributes into three other main wires. One of them goes to one of these relays. The other one goes to the back of the fuse box and basically operates all the accessories from here. So all these terminals here this is all a common terminal here. Same for this side. And then the other black and yellow one goes to the dash here somewhere. And then the other side comes directly from the ignition switch. And since I'm already on this side, I'm going to start showing you guys how to test it from this side. Show you the you can actually almost see it. Let me lower the camera. You can see it. And it's actually the wire number 297 from the manual. And there you can see it there. It's that one that sticks out there. All of the other wires are covered up by that plastic or rubber cap here. This one here. That's the only one that's actually like exposed. Probably so that, you see, they used to be very, very thoughtful back then. They probably left that one exposed like that so that you could just wire any other accessories that you may need from that. And, so there, now that you've seen it, see, that's wire 297, and it's the black wire with a thin green stripe. So I have one set of the leads, these leads connected to it, and then the light bulb. On the other hand, we're just going to find a ground spot, which it's right from these chrome spots. As you can see, it's not turning on. That's because the ignition switch is on. As soon as I turn the ignition switch to the on position, the light should turn on. There you have it. Turn this off, light turns on. And same if you go to the other side. This ignition switch, this key is not really the best in here right now. There you go, light turns on. This just represents that the main wire source of electricity, the common source of electricity for all the accessories, is working. And then I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side. I don't really trust these things here. They don't really work. Light bulb, that's the best way, 100%. These things, they can sometimes burn, fall through. See, I don't even have a proper probe. You can just get away with a simple setup like this. once again, I'm going to test the, let's test this wire here. See if that voltage there is reaching the fuse box. Okay, it is. The light is turning on. That's great. Main wire is working. Now this one, this black, big thick black wire, with only the yellow stripe, the thin yellow stripe, should turn on without the ignition switch because it's connected directly to the battery. Sure enough, it turns on. I'm also going to check each of these fuses to see if they're all working. And to see if electricity is going through them. Just same thing, just one of these sides will not work actually. Or just one of the sides needs to be, ignition switch needs to be on. So that fuse is working. You can just test this visually, but I'm just making 100% sure. So the right side of the fuse, or the longer side of the fuse, is connected to the ignition switch. From here we're going to follow all the other wires to see what's working and what's not. But these fuses should all be working, as I tested them before. Well, not tested them, but you can just see, they're made of glass. You can just see. So just to confirm, all of them are indeed working. And alright, so we can just start following on from here, find out what the hell is going on. I bet you it's just something, these switches here, they've shrunk inside. They're sort of sunk in there, so you know what, let's just see how much time we have in the video. You know what, I'm just gonna end this video here, and it shows you how to test. Once again, guys, these things are so much easier than anything post 1985, or anything modern. Very easy to just, put a wire in it and test it. That's it.